Welcome to another new year and episode on For the Greater Good podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Uzumaka or Jacko.
I am your other co-host, Shana Dubik. Welcome to another episode on For the Greater Good podcast and happy 2026. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes,
I hope
Happy
it
New Year.
yes to an amazing start for you.
Yes.
Welcome.
So we are kicking things off in the new year with a great topic. It's one we've haven't done before, so I'm really excited. This episode is titled The Journey of Self-Discovery, primarily focusing on mental health and well-being in the new year. Our intention for this episode is really to kick off the new year with a good mindset, a mental clarity, and setting that intention into the new year for us. So, welcome, and I'm really excited to get into this conversation.
No, I think it's perfect timing. We're starting a brand new year. We all have resolutions. We all have things that we want to undertake. And
Mhm.
what a good way to just figure out, okay, what does that look like for me right now? What is that
Yeah.
new journey looking like? So, yes, let's kick it off into that conversation and into the new year.
Yeah, so I know that with January, we're coming out from Christmas and New Year festivities. And so the first week of January is going to feel like dragging a little bit. I know that at least that's how I'm kind of feeling, but we would like or encourage you all to reframe that as a season of care, a season of curiosity, compassion, not perfection. So,
I love
with I love to open up the episode with a reflection prompt. So, Chanel, how are you arriving into this new year mentally and emotionally?
I am arriving into this new year with honesty, with excitement, with hope. There are a bit of incomplete things from 2025 that I am excited to continue the pursuit of and to see how that expands, how that continues to grow. And with an understanding that I'm still on a personal journey of healing, of growing as well too. So just the reminder that I am not here with the new person I want to fully be. So how can I continue to shape the new person I am becoming? What can I give to myself in honor of that new time? So I am arriving with excitement, with intention, with presence, and with honesty.
I love it. I think next this year, I'm also gonna arrive with a little bit of a curious mind. There are some things that I want to explore this new year, and just moving more with like intention and just being more mindful. And because I really want to see what more hobbies that I can get into this year. I know last year I focused on playing like a musical instrument, I focused on like rollerblading. And this year, I think I want to focus on other types of like physical activities that I can do outside. So, really wanting to be more outside this year and just being more curious and like, what other things can I get myself into this year? In a
It
fun
sounds
way.
like it's like
Yeah.
childlike excitement. It's like, oh my God, this is brand new. This is amazing. It's seeing the innocence of life without having the taintedness from our history and our experiences. And that's what self-discovery is. It's an awareness of
Mhm.
self, of presence, where you stand one foot in front of the other, one time after another, and not self-judgment. I didn't come to this. I didn't do what I wanted to in 2025. So I need to ensure that I give it my all. Yeah, of course. But with self-judgment, probably not. Just awareness that, okay, you know, it did not fully complete. How do I
Yeah.
ensure that I am able to get it to completion this time? And it's going to be perhaps a continuation of what you've done. And if you listen to our last episode, maybe just a redirection of somewhere else that you want to go. So,
Yeah.
yeah, awareness, not judgment.
Yeah. Just letting go of labels and rules and expectations that impact our mental health, right? And I think that can definitely have a huge impact on our mental health because we're already starting off the year in a negative space because we're already looking at things, already looking at what we're lacking instead of what's to come. And I think that letting go of all of those things can really help with that. And also, how listening to yourself can support more emotional regulation and clarity. We talked about this a lot last year in our last episode, too, just about how learning to listen to yourself, how to stop, how to just be in that stillness. And in doing that, you actually have a moment to just let yourself think, and things that can be even more clear because you've allowed yourself to just pause.
Yeah. You go with it with clarity because that
Mhm.
self-awareness can feel blocked if you have all of this chaos happening. You know, if you have that
Yeah.
burnout, if you have that anxious feeling, if you're feeling overwhelmed, like your energetic space is just there's no calm in
Hmm.
there. And you're unable to see, with clarity what is next for you or how you can get there, or to ask yourself the right questions to even pinpoint what is going wrong that you want to fix. So that self-awareness is going to be huge in that discovery of self and where you're trying to go next.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to just talk about more of like the role of rest, setting boundaries, emotional check ins, recognizing when growth requires slowing down, which is what I mentioned this year that I wanted to slow down because I'm curious to see what will happen if I do that. It's opposite of what I normally
Curious with the
do.
question,
Yeah.
what would your slowdown look like on your journey to
So,
self-discovery?
oh my God, it will look like so many different things. But the first thing that comes to mind right now is my fitness journey. I think for me, I started out last year with like doing Orange Theory, and that was great. I really love Orange Theory. It is a great fitness program. I love the psychology behind it. But for me, what other types of physical activity can I do that will still, allow me to maintain my health, be physically active every day, and be healthy, but is not as intense. But I think for me, that slowing down just means like finding other types of activities that will bring me the same joy. So, like I mentioned earlier, just like getting outside, I
Like
think.
that. Yeah.
That's the first thing that
That's,
comes to mind. There's so many things that
yeah.
slowing down could look like for me, but I think also too, not rushing to look at your phone as soon as you get up in the morning. That is like a culprit. I am a culprit of that. Like, I know that I can't help it. When work
That's
requires
how
you to
we live
have your
our
work
lives
email
nowadays.
on your phone, it's so hard not to like get up in the morning and that's the first thing you check. So I'm going to be more intentional with how I wake up in the morning. I'm actually going to wake up, set my intention for the day. I'm going to be practice more gratitude, thanking God for waking me up this morning. Just being like, wow, today's a new day.
Yes, it is. That pondering, that reflection, wasn't that beautiful though? How did you feel? I'm sure it felt
Great.
good, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It does feel good when you just take those little moments and you just appreciate yourself and just where you are.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. Recognizing that this is also a place of growth. Like slowing down doesn't mean that you've completely ended. What you did does no longer matters. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
quite all right. Yeah.
Yes.
So we have to normalize pauses and recalibration in the new year. That is something that we have to just be honest about. And talking about burnout, bringing into that conversation, ending the year, starting a brand new year, there are probably so many goals. There are so many things that you want to accomplish. It might not go in the way that you want. It might not go in the energy that you want. And do recognize that when you feel that you are not being gentle, you're not being calm with yourself, that it's a moment for you to pause and just see where you are again, to check in with yourself and to realize what's going on, what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here I do want to talk some as we go on this conversation of the journey of self discovery, talking about gentle practices for that. So I guess the first one that comes to mind is mindful routines. So breath work, not something I've actually never really took the time to do more research on. So
Right.
that's something new for me. Breath work.
Okay.
Like breath
Yeah.
work. I talked about intentional mornings. And I talked about it briefly, but also with the phone, but digital boundaries too. Using values, not productivity, as a guide for well being. Like, what do I value? Like, I value rest, I value prioritizing my health. I'd rather use things like that as a guide for well being, not base my well being on, oh, I was productive today, or look at all these different tasks I got done. Like, yeah, that's great. But then how do I feel at the end of those tasks?
Yeah, definitely. I would encourage starting the day with a journaling, just a reflection moment, and figure out what you want to accomplish for the day. What are some of the objectives you have? I feel like that brings mental clarity and it sets the stage for you to prioritize what your time is going to be given to the daily requirements of your personal or your professional life. So just to have something that can be a guide for you and a motivation that is, instead of you looking at your phone or a TV series at the end of the day, you can have that be the reward that you go back to and check in with yourself and say, did I accomplish X, Y, and Z that I planned to? And if there is still time in the day, then maybe you still have the time to complete those incomplete things that you hoped to have started when you journaled in the morning.
Mhm. Yeah. And so one thing we would like you all to take away is, just incorporate this year just one small like daily practice to support your emotional balance this month. Like, I think we deserve it, after coming back from the holidays, spending a lot of time with family and friends. I don't know about y'all, but like my social battery is like, okay, it's time to pause. So let's now acknowledge that we're in a new year and let's get back into um, the swing of things and everything. I think it's just taking that time to just do that for yourself, I think is a great way to set yourself up for this year, because that just is like one step you're taking to just prioritize yourself, period.
Yeah. Honestly, absolutely couldn't have said it better because you're starting the year with exhaustion from partying too much, from
That
completing
too.
deadlines, completing things,
Yeah.
from doing things that you had on your mind, you had in your plate. And you're coming into this new year with a bit of pressure, with a bit of expectation on yourself. And you clearly need to have proper boundaries and you need to have some instruments, some things that you can go to so that you can help yourself, navigate that fear, navigate that comparison, navigate that pressure that you're feeling. And come back to self, come back to just being. What are the things that you truly want to do? Is that action taking you to or from that goal? We just have to be understanding of that time and not be afraid to ask those questions, not be afraid for you to feel like you're straying away. Be able to recognize that. Yeah. And don't compare, yesterday with today. It's a different time. You get to write something brand new every single day.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I just, with the month of January too, it also brings a lot of anxiousness because you're just unsure and you're just curious about what's to come this year, even some comparison and even some pressure. So, some of that looks like, am I starting off this year and I'm already feeling like I'm falling behind or not where you expect it to be? I think those feelings are very valid. But as we, continue to mention, is to let go of where you think that you should be this year and to try not to compare yourself obviously to the next person, because if there's one thing that I've learned in my life so far is that your journey is not going to look like the next person's journey. And the more you start just focusing on the path that you're walking on, the less burdensome, the less fear, the less anxious you're going to start to become, because you don't have anything to compare it to. You're just like, oh, I'm just on this path. This is what my path looks like. And you're just solely focused on that. So you have no room to think about, oh, I'm not where I should be. Oh, I was focusing on where I want to go.
I know that's a lot of just chaos to deal with, to be honest. I can, as you're saying that, I was literally just feeling my inside just being, oh my God, like tense and just disrupted. And I'm like,
Oh
if
no,
there
what did I do?
Not by you. It was just thinking about that,
Yeah.
if we have so much distraction that we're trying to filter and we're trying to navigate, just the internal discomfort that creates for us. And that just it gives us more work. And
Hmm.
that comparison that you were talking about, it impacts that that self-discovery, that self-worth that we're trying to discover, which we're trying to implement for ourselves, and that mental clarity, because there's just so much chatter going on. And we're not asking that. I can turn mine off. So I can't tell you to turn yours off. Nor can I say don't turn it off. We just have to feel, how can we deal with it better, to be very honest? How can we be honest with ourselves and where we are? And by asking those questions, by saying I wasn't where I am yesterday to today, that comparison is going to let you know that you're limited. Today's a brand new day. Okay, how do I get excited about it? How can I do something brand new?
Hmm. Yeah,
Rediscover.
and it's just also like that really impacts the views that you have about yourself. And again, as a, you know, domino effect, your mental health. So I think that, comparison is just never a good thing. Like it was very hard for me to learn how to turn it off. It was very difficult.
I think I recognize that it is there. It's happening all right there. I know that it is there. I just acknowledge. I say, "Hi, welcome." Okay, off you go. I think it's just that's the gentlest thing I can do with it. Just recognizing that it
Yeah.
is there, doing the breath work, trying to still myself, and just gentleness. There are different things based on the heaviness of the moment. There are different ways I approach it, but some of the simplest ways is just recognizing that I feel that way, and then not being so heavy and so bad with myself, and just being more gentle with my self-talk and asking myself ownership, going for a walk, trying to get space to breathe. It normally feels just like my chest is crushing with pressure. So that was one
Yeah.
of my big indicators.
Yeah, and I know that social media also plays like a big part of it too, because naturally we want to keep up with our friends and see what our friends and family are doing. And sometimes that can, again, cause us to like lean towards more of the comparison. And, we may feel behind or disappointed because we're not there yet. But at the same time, I think that the more you just kind of start to focus on, okay, this is my journey and this is my journey alone. No one else gets to walk this journey but me. So I feel like that in itself is like great and so unique to yourself. And there's this affirmation that I really like around this, especially for the new year, is you are allowed to take your time becoming. There's no timeline.
No, there isn't. It's every single day, it's something new that you get to do, that you get to get yourself excited about. And you
Yeah,
allow that space to do that. What can be more honest than that?
I know. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. It's just like when this day and age, especially with, oh my gosh, especially with AI and how that's your face.
The, the overwhelm
As
is
soon as
there
I mention
alone.
AI, you're just like,
No, the life in that world is just something else. I mean, it's incredible, the advancements, but the absence of connectivity and the parallel lives that we're living, like we're close to humans, but we don't have that same connection like as we used to have, or that we are supposed to have,
hmm,
as humans, is how we are
hmm,
supposed to function. But yeah,
yeah.
it's for a whole other episode. We'll get there.
Oh gosh, I know.
I
But
think I
another,
had you lost thought. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. I just saw your face and I was just like, oh, AI. But I'm only
Yeah.
bringing it up because, in the terms of just comparison, I'm not going to compare myself to something that was digitally created that's not like it's not real. And it's
Right.
crazy because the it's getting harder and harder to see like what is actually real and what's not real. So that's why I
Mhm.
just bring up like when we're on this journey of self discovery, like with the evolution of AI. social media, the different trends that are going, and just seeing the updates from your friends and family. Like all that is like nice and really cool to keep up with and stuff. But again, like just the more that you just continue this year, to just focus on your path and just put your attention and just knowing like, okay, this is just the path that I'm going on, and it's very unique to me.
Yeah, definitely. What would it look like if we were to ensure that we appreciate where we are with mental clarity, without the noise? What do you see the possibility of that being?
I think it's I think it's possible to appreciate where you're at with mental clarity because, well, I would say it's better to be mentally clear so that you can appreciate, because if you are filled with, different distractions, and it's kind of hard to practice that gratitude, because your brain is conflicted with just everything going around you, just all that mental stimulus. But I
Yeah,
think once you again continue to practice that stillness and being present, that's a way that you can be appreciative of where you are in your journey. I think it's
definitely.
important to also be to practice that anyways, because there are so many people that, couldn't make it to this point, not only just in their lives, but also, again, like everyone's journey is just so unique to us. You just never know what it would have taken the next person to get to where you're at. You just don't know. Like it may not seem as much, but you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know the heaviness of someone else's burden, how much it
Mhm.
has taken them to someone that smile on their face, the happiness that you see and that you appreciate and you say, I wish I was this happy. You have no
Mhm.
clue the underlying storms that they are going through, that we are going through. And I acknowledge you for that. That's so honest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there's that, and then also just giving yourself. I think when you do practice that, you are giving yourself permission to evolve without explanation.
100%. Yes. And that is such a beautiful place that any one of us can arrive at and choose to go from. Because then whatever you do henceforth is something that you have decided to authentically create for yourself. You can only decide with authenticity where you choose to go from that point in time because you carry the manuscript, you carry the instruction of what it is that want to do and what you want to become and the grandness of that.
Mhm.
And yes, it's amazing for you to come to a point and realize that and take ownership of it.
Yeah. So on this journey of self-discovery, that is a big, you know, topic that we wanted to enter into this new year on. So we do want to leave you all with a closing reflection question. And that is, what would it look like to care for your mental health as an act of self-discovery this year?
Knowing that
Just
I
ask
have a
yourself
mental
that.
health to take care of.
Yeah.
To because we just feel like it's something entirely separate from us and from like we can detach it like my we cannot recognizing that I have a mental health that requires me to show up and to care for it. You still have the autonomy of life. You can still instruct your own life. You can still regulate how you're feeling, where you're going. And not everybody, once again, has the ability to always do that or to even do that presently. So knowing that you still have the freedom to be able to create something for yourself, so that mental health is certainly going to be so important. And for me, that is just knowing when to pause, knowing when to give rest for myself, reminding myself that I should be compassionate, accept where I am, do things, redirect courses that I think are intentional, are filled with purpose. I'm honest about, where I am right now, what will it take me to get to the next phase of life that I'm trying to get to? And how will that impact the people in my life?
Mhm. I like that.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm always caring for my mental health. So I guess it would have to be something out of the blue for me to think of it as an act of self discovery this year. I think something that I can adopt this year, and I think Chanel, you kind of mentioned it too when I was talking about that I want to be more curious this year, is in my inner child as an act of self discovery. I might even discover something else that I forgot that I love doing. And it's just been so buried deep down with based on just like life and just, things going on that, oh, I finally tapped into this and this is something new that I discovered. So I think for me, it's just tapping into my inner child more.
I love that. I love that. A lot of us don't recognize that. That is just too important. We close the year and there's a rush to end things. And that also impacts your mental health. You know, your steadiness with self, you being present and here grounded. So as a final encouragement, as you happily step into 2026 and you discover with childlike curiosity, with childlike excitement, with where I am, as an adult and what else do I want to find in life that makes me happy? Self-discovery is an ongoing journey, it's an ongoing mental practice. And don't stop.
Yeah, don't. You
Yeah.
owe it to yourself to continue to discover who you are because, man, like just life in itself is just way too short to just not to. The things that you will uncover if you do that is just it's just unreal. And you would even shock yourself. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to shock myself this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do that, right? Let's shock
Yeah.
ourselves for sure. The new year is an invitation to listen inward and not perform outward. So, how does my heart feel? How does my spirit feel? How does my emotion feel? Do I feel overwhelmed? Do I feel confused? Do I feel heavy? Do I feel at peace? Hmm. There are so many gentle places to go. So just checking with yourself and give yourself the ownership of that space to belong. And what will it look like and what will it feel like amazingly?
And to close out our wonderful episode, I we would like to share a closing affirmation. So, as you begin this new year, I give myself permission to move at my own pace. I honor where I am mentally, emotionally, and spiritually without judgment or comparison. I trust that clarity will come through care, not pressure. I choose curiosity over criticism, rest over rushing, and compassion over perfection. I am becoming, and that is enough.
I am becoming, and that is enough. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes. I can't wait to see who and what we have become at the end of 2026. I pray that we all find the joy and the creative spaces and the excitement and the things that will make our hearts so happy that we are like, oh my God, was this even possible? The height
Mhm.
of our curiosity and joy that we feel. May we find it. I pray that we all get a moment to discover what that's like. All the
Amen
best
to that.
journey. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode for the Greater Good podcast. Another couple more final thoughts we'd like to leave you with is, please, we invite you to choose one word or intention that supports your well being. We encourage you to revisit this episode throughout the month of January or throughout the year if you need to, if you need a gentle reminder. I mean, that affirmation that we shared, I'm definitely going to be rereading that to myself every now and as a reminder. So please feel free to share, to like, to repost, send this to someone who you know needs a little bit of encouragement this new year. And of course, you will find us on Spotify, on Amazon Music, and YouTube, of course. Please feel free to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at For the Greater Good Pod. And we look forward to seeing what all of you will accomplish this new year. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for listening.